Good morning and welcome to Wednesday Mornings with Doug Tobin. Good morning, Doug. How are you?
Good, Tammy. And how are you doing this morning?
I'm wonderful, thank you. So today we're going to address the topic that was presented to us. What happens or what are the ramifications as to when a buyer decides to back out of a transaction? So Doug, can you handle that?
So, yeah, let's talk about there's several different scenarios where that may come up. What we're seeing now is this crazy market we've been in, multiple offers, and we're seeing where buyers maybe make offers on 5, 10 different properties, get beat out, and just are tired of it, get overly emotional about this. So typically, maybe I've got a listing for $1 million, and it gets bid up to 1.1, maybe 1.2, and then there's somebody throws an offer in at 1.5, says I'm not messing around anymore. This house fits our needs. We're going to take it. So they get their offer accepted and then wake up the next morning and go, what have I done? Oh, I'm overpaying for that house. I want out. So what are the choices? What can they do about that? Well, it all depends on how you got into it. And this really borders on, if you're in that situation, you need to get an attorney. We've got good real estate attorneys always available for you to talk to. But in general, if you've bought that house non-contingent, which we do a lot of in this market, you may have a problem. There's the 3-day right of rescission. Everybody thinks that there's a 3-day right of rescission in real estate transactions, and that's generally true. The Civil Code says that a buyer has an absolute 3-day right of rescission from the time they've
Gone into contract.
Right, gone into contract, based on the transfer disclosure statement law and that sort of thing. But that doesn't always hold if we do a non-contingent offer. If you have all the disclosures and all the federally and state mandated information before you write the offer, you may have waived that 3-day right of rescission. So you need to be very careful about that. As the market softens, it's possible for getting more and more possible for agents to get reasonable contingencies in there, so that you could back out. But again, there has to be some statement of reasonableness. You can't just say, I got cold feet and back out. Well, maybe you could, but you might wind up really needing an attorney and winding up in court. So if you've got the absolute 3-day right of rescission, you can probably just withdraw from the agreement. If you haven't, and you can't just withdraw that easily, if you haven't put your deposit in, some people say that if you don't have compensation, you don't have a contract. That's really legal stuff, and you need to be talking to an attorney about that sort of thing. But in general, that may not hold, because the promise of making the deposit may be consideration and therefore create a contract. So first thing to do, if you get in that situation that you want out, is notify your agent, who can notify the other agent, and get that property back on the market. Minimize the loss. If you're not going to go through with the transaction, you want to make sure the seller mitigates the damages. Get that house back on the market, and then probably talk to an attorney. It would be the next step, and that would be my advice if you get in that situation.
Oh, cool. So it's pretty clear and cut the steps that you have to take if you decide to back out as a buyer. There's a chance that you could lose your deposit. There's a chance that you may not lose your deposit, but that's just a risk you take if you choose to back out.
Right.
Is that before contingencies or after a 3-day right of rescission?
Well, if you've got the 3-day right of rescission, as a general rule, you can just say, I'm out. You don't even need to give a reason for it. If you've got contingencies in place, that you're going to do further inspections on the property, it's contingent maybe on final loan approval or contingent on appraisal, you got to be careful, because a lot of people say, well, I'll just get out based on the loan. I don't have an approved loan. And you say, well, that's fine, but if you could, you've made it contingent on you getting a loan. If I say, I'm out of here because I can't get the loan, when that's not really a reason. If you could get the loan, you could be considered not acting in good faith. If you're not acting in good faith, even if you're getting out based on a contingency, your deposit could be at risk. Again, you need to consult an attorney.
Okay, well, wonderful. Thank you so much, Doug, for handling this question for us, and we look forward to speaking with you guys next week. Thank you, and have a wonderful week.